Are You Selfish? We're going to talk about The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins right now. We're going to review his book, so stay tuned. So for us, there is two types of behaviors known so far. First is the selfish behavior, selfishness, and second one is altruism or altruistic behavior. Now, we can say that mostly the altruistic behavior happens because of selfishness, but there may be exceptions. Now, one of the principles of the book is, well, there is this competition. Competition is always in every single circumstance. Like there is competition going on between races for survival, for reproducing rights, and etc. And we are so-called survival machines by the end of the book, by some sort of molecules or genes. We can, for simplicity, we can call it genes, right? We are survival machines of them, and they are just using us for their own survival, which is quite bizarre thing to say, right? And suggest quite bizarre thing, really. But another thing is that generally, if you look at the world, the way the world works, if you ever look at the stars for long enough, you start to realize that, oh hell no, like I'm so small. I live on the rock that's circling there, those stars and this infinity, and I'm so small compared to that thing. Right. You have this realization, which is total bizarre thing to think. I mean, to think about infinity is a bizarre phenomenon. So generally, trust is rather bizarre, right? I always like to say this thing that, we look at this fiction and etc. Like, certain concepts are changed there, but even like most bizarre so-called fiction cannot even compete with reality, because reality is very fun, right? And this may not be reality. This may be even computer simulation. Who knows? One of the funny mentions not funny but interesting mentions in the book is that author wrote this book. He was like referring to a certain period, and after he wrote the additional notes for the book, he would mention, right, and when I wrote this book, computers could play only on the level of amateur chess players, but now they can match with experts. And not only that, but I mean, when you play on a computer can play to human being like endlessly, 24 hour, 30 hour, 100 hour, 10,000 hour, but human will get tired. Human brain will go soft because human needs to sleep, etc., eat, while computer just can play and play and play and play till it beats you. So computers becomes just in last 10-year period of time, like we have this deep learning phenomenon, which is fascinating, right? And yeah, that's it. Like, trust is rather bizarre, and one of the interesting mentions of the book is if we were to forget all this religious nonsense in terms of spirituality, spirit stuff, what we actually are is nothing more than robots ourselves. Like, we are built literally, and there is of course, by whom? By our genes or by our molecules. You can call it whatever you want. Like, it does this process in this 9-month period of time. It builds you up for its own survival. It uses you as its own survival mechanism, which is bizarre. I know, I understand it. And this is one of the great beautiful theories, beautiful ideas. And yeah, we are just robots. Even psychology. In psychology, there is this thing that human mind can be programmed for certain things. Human just like in special forces, we look at like it's special forces training is like a programming for a human to do certain missions, and so very specific what kind of special forces it is. Right? If it's like super serious special forces, they are really programmed to do this certain type of thing, and they maybe they won't hire everybody. They will hire certain specific personalities, And also it's really known fact that we are most likely we can program ourselves, right? We can make ourselves build whatever we want and do this certain stuff, right? We can be human being when here at the ideology appears, a human being starts to behave like a bizarre way. For example, exploiting yourself for the sake of religion, which totally goes against our own genes, our own survival machines. Like it's against will of our survival machines, because our survival machines don't want like self-destruction, like don't want something to exploit them. It's against it, and it's very, and this shows, and what I was telling to you, that the mind can be programmed. We can be reprogrammed, right? You may come, these people like some that behave that way, not necessarily were like that in younger periods of time. They reprogram themselves that way. These things program them to behave that certain way. Now, what our molecules or genes care about is to replicate, to expand, to replicate and keep living, right? It might be with the way of your son. Maybe your son should probably have like 50% of your genes, and your grandson should have 25, I believe. No, okay. And one of the interesting things as well in the book is that idea of, let's say you and 5 of your nephews burn in house. Your mother most likely will save your 5 nephews, because she will naturally have this instinct, and she will see most of the genes with that 5 nephew rather than you. Like if there were 3 nephews, she would save you, but just because there are 5, she will save them. So it's a very interesting thing, because there is no question that it's something dictates our behavior. And of course, the selfish gene theory is not ultimate suggestion, right? Because we have to still remember the idea of the group and power of group environment, because we are told, in our tribal time, it was known as, like, in one tribe, for example, there was like 150 people around. That's why I've came up with it, 150 people book challenge. That's why it's 150 book basically, and this is how much people we would interact. So also we can see that when people gather together, masses, they behave in a rather bizarre way as well. Like, but just like there is this saying, it is much more easier basically to lie at 100 million per person, to make 100 million people believe in something, and it's much more difficult to lie a single person, for whatever reason. It's this way. So it's like one of the interesting references in the book is that male is more expendable, female is more valuable, which is a fact, because the way we evolved, generally speaking, one of the reasons for it, of course, childbearing process. Because females are very vulnerable, at least in tribal times. Okay, now if you live in modern world, most likely you're safe, but you will still need medical care and to visit doctors and check certain stuff. But even in tribal times, they were even more vulnerable, so male had to protect them. Also, like, because of the nature of male, that we are so selfish generally, not selfish, but we want to expand it, we want to replicate our data. Like, the amount of children male can have possibly is limitless, right? It depends how many females can you seduce, how many females are willing to make babies, bear children and make babies with you, and also how many females are willing to, have babies with, right? It's totally up to you. And in these days there are people that have multiple lovers, I guess, or wives, and they have these children with them if they want to. So this and because of our basically male nature, and also like sperm is cheap, right? Also like I'm trying kind of bringing certain ideas from the Alpha God, which I'm reading this book and Alpha God at the same time. I finished the Selfish Gene, and I have like last 2 chapters left to finish Alpha God. So I'm going to read this book, and if you are more interested in this conversation, check out that book review in Alpha God, and I will expand on that topic more. And let's get back to the Selfish Gene right now, because these things are more from Alpha God references and aren't necessarily here to review. So we have selfish herds as well, selfish selfish people, basically selfish nation, for example. There can be say, for example, while I was reading this book at the same time, Alpha God, what I noticed is this, right? It's mentioned that, for example, in army, and it's just something that you have in your mind. Again, nothing more. Just have this thing in your mind, like, for example, men, for example, they are in army, when they go to war, they develop even more close relationship with each other than they have with their blood related brothers, because they are brothers in arm, they are brothers in arm. So which is something very interesting to have in your mind. Very interesting thing. Also, yeah, what I was talking about, by the way, I'll finish that sentence. There is this childbearing and child caring are 2 different things if you were to pay attention. And just because, I don't talk about again, expendable and valuable, right? When we talk about these differences, even women, even these days, even today's technological advancement, I don't know the exact numbers, but they still end up dying in the pregnancy, during pregnancy. It happens. I don't know the statistics, what the numbers are, but it happens today, in these days, this level of technology. And can you imagine back in the past, where there were no doctors or anything like that, and there were just old women that would help younger one to have this pregnant stuff? Can you imagine that period, what kind of danger it beard? And this is already a very interesting conversation, because these things determine a lot of stuff. And last thing I want to tell you and finish this review is this. I haven't thought we read this Selfish Gene, for example, and maybe after listening to this, you want to read this book, or you have already read it. Something that you should always have in your mind, and even in Alpha God, you read that book, is this. Evolution is 100% on right now. Even right now, we are talking to each other. Even right now, the evolution is on 100%. Things are evolving. And that's why, for example, we were explaining there, expendables, vulnerable. This kind of stuff may not necessarily hold truth from 10 years from now, because evolution still is on. Survival of the fittest, things are changing in a rapid level. Just think about it. People, individuals, usually used to live on the same place entire life. Now there's these planes, people can fly around continents, they can travel, they can meet. You have this, what's called long-term relationships, I believe. Yeah, you have this stuff is so many things are changing. So many things are changing right now. I hope you can hear me. Well, so many things are changing right now. We have I've Googled it, mothers killing their own children because the children was playing on her phone too much and she just killed them, or they were playing some game. Basically, this kind of, or males behaving this way and that way, I mean, and women themselves say that, for example, today's males are what like women, and a lot of women are like displeased with that fact because they can't enjoy being with another woman. They want to be with men, which is totally natural and understandable. Like, so many things are changing on an insane scale. Even right now, we are talking in this century, in this period of time. This is the greatest period to be alive. By the way, you can look at these things. So many things are changing. So many opportunities are open. So many things develop in different way. And I forgot I will, kind of touch these things a little bit. So many things are changing because of it. Like, evolution is going on 100% on right now. So just because you have this data of information, it doesn't mean that it still holds truth today. Okay, but it doesn't mean as well that it's not holds truth. Okay, and this behavior, X behavior, doesn't necessarily comes from Y or Z, whatever. It does not come, may not come from what you say in travel times, because we humans evolving right now. This technology we have evolved in, it's 1 week away from New Year, right? 2020 comes, and 2020, and yeah, 2019, for example, like in the last 10 years of period of time, like, so many things evolved, so many things are changing, like, so many things affect human brain, change its behavior. I mean, even if we were to talk about like sexual dynamic, like sex became, at last in non-Islamic part of the world, right? I would say Western civilization, right? Like, sex became, something kind of, not as like something way of fun, like, and it is fun, and it has always been, but it had, it has some things changed. Okay, I don't even know how to put it in word, but and the changes are occurring. These behaviors are changing. For example, this woman, for example, that lives in other side of the planet, you may fly right now on the other side of the planet in a couple hours, or, it depends on where you're going, right? But it will take hours, or you may have to change flights. And you will go there and you will meet her on the other side of the planet, but usually in previous centuries it would be utterly impossible. It would take that just too much time to be worth it. Or like, it wouldn't just happen on that scale. Or she may come and visit your place where you live, whatever, and you just may meet each other, or you guys may log into some sort of online environment and you guys may meet each other, even though you guys live on literally other side of the planets. So these kind of things are, for example, changes, okay? And this thing, just have it in this mind, and these things can be expanded on everything, just about every single human aspect of life, just everything. These things are evolving. Just what I'm telling you, there's natural selection, the evolution is on, even right now. This is something, by the way, I used to remind a lot to myself when I was reading this book. Like, this natural selection is still on. It's not like something that process that happened, or like archetypal, it's typical, and it ended, like it's some sort of circle like this and it ended. No, it continues. It never ended. It never actually stopped. So and have that in your mind. And definitely we have all the possibilities to defy our genes. I know too many period of time genes used to control us, but now we gain at last at some level to defy them. Okay, this is it. If you find this conversation super interesting, smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't. See you.